Hey everyone, so I've had a couple requests to kind of show how I do the spaceship builds that I've posted on YouTube in the past. So I'm going to show some of the basics on how to actually do this. But first I'm going to show the usual way people get builds to float in the air without being attached to the ground. So it's basically you use two concrete foundations, then you use these type of stairs, and then you use these posts. Stack two of them, remove the bottom one, and what this allows you to do is snap a set of stairs under that post. Then you can actually remove the bottom set of stairs and voila, you have stairs floating above the ground. So that's not how I do it for the spaceship builds. I don't use stairs at all in my spaceship builds. So I chose the spot above Site Bravo because it's fairly big and flat, gives me a fairly large working area to mess around in. Put my toys away. So I'm going to start with the really basics. How do you get this to float in the air without the use of stairs? That's actually really easy once you figure out the mechanics of it. So put down a concrete foundation. Actually, I'm going to back up one step. If you're building a spaceship, you want to kind of lay out roughly the shape on the ground. This is not going to be the final shape, obviously, but it's a rough outline of where you're going to want pieces. So like these things sticking out would be wings or engines. You want to go a little bit behind so you can do some fancy placement of roofs to make it look like engines. Then way down here would be the nose of the ship. Doesn't look like much, right? Okay, so back to where I was. So say I'm going to start off with maybe how I do. I haven't really scripted this or anything, I'm just doing it as I go. So if you place a wall on the foundation, this one's kind of low for building a spaceship. When you're building a spaceship, or any sort of build that floats off the ground, plan in advance. Figure out how far off the ground you want it floating so you can still enter it, where different spots of the body of the ship are going to be lower than the rest or higher than the rest. And plan your first few pieces based on that. So typically I keep the ship roughly half a wall off the ground. Oh, I have company. Let me go deal with him first. So I usually start the build so it's roughly half a wall off the ground. These are fairly close to the ground, so I may actually go up a little bit further than this. So I'm going to go 2 full wall heights. Now you notice I placed it facing that way, with the back of the wall, or the inside of the wall, facing outwards. If I do it, oops, get up there, this way, the wall faces inwards. So that's fine, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But a lot of my builds actually have the walls facing outwards. And there's a reason for that. So I'm just going to move. So originally the wall was here. I'm going to put it here, but still with the back facing outwards. And I'll show you why in a sec. So this is going to be, for all intents and purposes, the outside edge of my build. Now right now I don't actually want those walls there. I'm just kind of planning it out. So what I really want is this to be the outer edge of my ship wing or engine, I guess. And this is where roofs come in. So right now all I've done was go out a block further than I planned the build to be, slapped a set of walls up and put a flat roof on it. Well, why? Well, once you have the roof up where you want the outer wall to be, you snap the outer wall there. So I'm using a half wall. There's reasons for that. But the cool thing about this is I can take that roof out of there, and that wall is now floating in midair. I can take all of the walls out. It's still floating. This is where knowing the mechanics of the different build pieces come in handy. For example, a roof, like this one, will snap there or there. That's it. It won't snap any other way. But that's actually why I placed the outside of the wall facing inwards. So I can do that. Well, right now that means I can't snap a roof going that way, and I know you've seen in my builds that I've done this. I'll get there. There's tricks to do it. So right now, you're looking at basically what would be the bottom of the engine cowling. So you'll notice something cool about angled roof pieces. They will snap to each other at the top, and they will snap to each other on the bottom. What you may not have known is a half wall, or any wall, including angled walls I believe, will snap to the top of that roof. So what I do is that, and you'll start seeing the form take shape. So that's kind of higher than I planned. Good thing I have marsupial. There's another cool thing about roofs, which you probably already know, is the flat roofs, they won't connect to the bottom of these the angled roofs, but they will connect to the top. So I can start building my floor this way. And so far, slapping together a really rough outline of one of my spaceships is pretty quick. Now, to get other pieces to go where you want them to, there's a few different ways. So say I wanted to go, I'll lay down another, I don't need all these foundations, it's just guides. So say I decide that, whoops, that's too high. And technically it is for what I would normally be building. You can do the same trick, only instead of using 2 full walls, do a wall and a half. Grab a flat roof, snap it there, grab a half wall, snap it there. Always make sure you take the roof piece out before you do anything else or it gets stuck. And because of the way this is all layered together, you can do all kinds of fancy stuff with it. So I'm actually going to tear this down, but you'll see it won't let me. You're going, oh no, it's stuck, you'll never get rid of it. Well, that's not entirely true. It's actually pretty easy to undo mistakes. And it's literally just putting the outside back where it was. So everything's connected to this outer wall now through that roof. To this, to that, to this. I can't take this piece out because I disconnected it, but I can put that back in. And I can take it all down again. So if you screw up, it's not that hard to recover from. I know a lot of builds, if you're using floors, if you snap a floor piece in that you didn't mean to, you're starting over. There's no way to recover from that most of the time. It really sucks, but that's the mechanics of the build system. So if I wanted to, I could start building off this wall again. I actually don't have to, because this is already kind of where I wanted it to be. There you go. I just reconnected these. Getting a flat floor under a ship is rather tricky. There is a trick to get roofs to float, which I have not mastered, I gotta be honest. So say I wanted a flat floor under here instead of this thing, have it flat coming out. It's doable, but it takes a little extra fiddling around. I usually leave the angles underneath the ship because it gives a nice shape to the ship. And because of the snap points on these different pieces, the roof will either snap to the bottom of the roof or the edge of this roof. Because these are all connected together, if I need to undo a mistake, same thing, I just build the wall up from the outside, slap a flat roof piece to connect them, take out what I don't want, take out the flat roofs, and go from there. So why did I do all this? Well, and you'll see those are stuck again. It says, here, I'll show you again. Can't be accessible. No problem. It's actually really easy to recover from mistakes when you're doing this. So I just want to get rid of this and this and this. I can leave that there, just move it around as I require it. So I'm going to show you a cool trick with these pieces. They will not snap this way. Just won't happen. It will snap this way. Now, to get the shape of the engines, like from one of my previous builds, I would do this. These angle pieces are funky. You can attach the bottom to the outer edge of an angled roof piece, and you can attach the top the same way, only they face opposite directions. So you have to understand the mechanics of the attach points. So the sloped roof will attach, the underside of the sloped roof will attach to the top of the angled wall, but will not attach any other way, except the bottom of the angled wall will attach to the outer edge of an angled roof, only facing basically inwards to the roof. And because the roofs snap together, you start getting the shape that you're looking for. Now, I screwed up on purpose. I'll show you what I mean. So when you're in here, I usually use these bottom angled walls because in the game you can add wallpapers. So say I wanted to use red to highlight the inside of the engine, or blue or white or whatever, I would do it by putting wallpaper on the outside of the wall, or technically the inside of the wall facing outwards, like I can do here. And I don't know, dark gray. But because I screwed up and put the roof in first, I can't snap anything to it. So these things will only snap in. Take the wallpaper off so you make sure I'm being honest to you. These things will only snap to the top of these angled walls if there's nothing already attached to them. Now you can go back and snap these there, but they won't do it with these half walls, the angled walls, attached to them. So how do you get around that problem? They will snap there, you saw me do it earlier. So how to fix? Well, this is where our wonderful flamethrower trap comes in handy. So there's a few different ways of tricking the build system into doing what you want. So right now, I want to put roof pieces where these angled walls are, but it won't let me because they're in the way. Well, easy peasy. Drop down a flamethrower trap and torch it. Some walls have more durability than others. See, I didn't take it all the way down. It's still got maybe a fifth of its health left. No worries. So you can see the damage walls in build mode show up as yellow, but if you're not in build mode, they're just gone. Back into build mode, you still see them. Now the bottom one is still there. See where it highlights green? That's the outer edges of the other one of these. So I can repair it and bring the whole wall back. I can do the same for that. But the reason I did this in the first place is so I could snap that there. There's still one catch. It's still not going in. Oops, need a half wall. And a flat roof. Forgot to move it. A lot of this is trial and error, gotta be honest. So the real problem right now is, even though that's destroyed, it's still in the way. But I can scrap it now that I've built the bridge. I can take the bridge back out. Go back to my angled walls. Oh, now the game's calling me a liar. There we go. So right now I've only got half of this, but these walls have a unique property. They connect on the long edge. So this edge right here will connect to the same edge. These two pieces butt together and will connect. So even if this piece was floating in space, that would still snap to it. It's a weird mechanic, but we get the end result that we're looking for. There's a couple ways to get the top part of this in place. You guys may have to rewind and watch how I did this because I didn't explain it very well. Essentially, you're going to have to destroy specific pieces to get other pieces to snap where you want them to. And knowing what snap points go where allows you to get around little loopholes or find loopholes in how the mechanics want you to do something versus what you want to do with it. So right now, I'm looking at a half-complete engine. well, not even half, but you get the rough shape of it. But you still can't really get the whole shape of it because the top of the roof is missing here. So each roof angle piece is half a wall high. I want one to be over top of what I'm building. So I'm going to raise this another half roof. So right now I have 3 flat roofs coming off my support wall. One of these roof pieces is a block wide and half a block tall. So how do I use this? Because it's not letting me, right? Well, all I need is something floating off the other end to take a piece out. So right now, it's trying to connect to this wall. The bottom of the angled roof is connecting to the top of this wall and pointing outwards. It's not trying to connect to those. See? But I want it actually connecting to that. It's now connecting to this roof piece. But there's a catch. I want an angled wall arch, one of these pieces, to snap there but facing this way. And it won't, because that's not how these walls snap to roof pieces. Well, how to fix that? To fix that, I need this roof piece to snap to the edge of this roof piece. But this roof piece is in the way. This is where our turret comes in, our trap comes in handy. So ideally you want to watch where your flames are pointing. This bottom one will catch that roof easily, and I want to set this more on this roof, so when that roof gets destroyed, my turret doesn't disappear. There, so right now, this roof is still there, it's just damaged. You can see this is trying to snap to it. But as far as collisions are concerned, it's not there, so I can snap a roof on top. So it looks right now like I've got myself worked into a corner, sort of. I want this roof piece to go away. In theory, but not always, I should be able to use my flat roof trick to get that roof piece out of the way. Nope, it's not cooperating. That's fine. We have another way of doing it. So I want to get rid of this roof piece. It won't let me. This roof piece is in the way of putting a flat roof over to this. That's okay though, because again, carefully placing your flamethrower trap will allow you to, oops, I broke it, good job, burn down the roof. Be aware that you're going to need an awful lot of springs if you keep breaking your flamethrower trap, and it will break fairly quickly. See what I did there? So I use the trick where I make that roof not collide so I can get the flat roof over. It's still stuck, but same tricks apply. As long as something's hanging off the other side, and I want that wall facing outwards, Then I can come back over to here, remove these. That one's stuck, but we'll get back to it. Marsupial is essential for doing this kind of thing. Not even lying. Okay, so now that I've got the roof facing the way I want it, now I can snap that piece in. And because that roof is supporting, or sorry, that wall is supporting that roof, I was able to take out the roof above it. That's still stuck. That's fine. We can work around that as I go. Eventually, once I start, say I built the other side, I'd be connecting them on the top using flat roofs, and then I can start removing some of the crap that I don't want where it's currently at. So it's all about the order, that you connect things. Weird, my marsupial is having a bad day. So right now, say I wanted to snap another angled roof right where I'm standing to attach to that one. This is now in the way. Well, again, same trick. Go dig out your turret, or your flamethrower trap. Oh, well, how am I supposed to get that top angle arch? Because this won't place. Well, grab any old table that's the right height to get your flamethrower where you need it to be. I'm going to end up destroying both of these because that's where the flamethrower is hitting, but whatever. They're still there, they're just going to be damaged, so the model changes. I also try to store the flamethrower before it finishes burning. The main reason for that is so I don't have to repair it as often. So now I go back to my roof, and it will snap there where it would not have snapped before with that angled wall in the way. Now I also want to put, well, I'll use the other side as an example. I want to do that on both ends. Now that wall's in the way. So again, a lot of the time when you're doing something like this, it's the sequence that you're doing it that makes the difference. So you're going to end up probably with walls floating in places you didn't want them to be, or so let me explain what I'm doing here. This wall has the inside facing the inside of this wall. If I put a roof on top, this all gets stuck, but I can still get rid of it. So we're back to square one on that? Well, not really, because this side's already built. I do need to literally remove this angle piece to get the bottom roof back in, but it will snap to this angle piece, so putting it back is not really a big deal. This also lets me put that up there. This is, actually I wasn't expecting that to come out because it should have been stuck there. So like I said, it's all the sequence of events to get things to go where you want them to. So I still need to remove that piece. This piece is there, it's just, I'll repair them so you can see them. So I've built this diamond shaped thing. And you can do that on the backside. And it's facing outward, so when you're looking at it from the outside, you can change the color using wallpapers. Say I wanted to make it look kind of high-tech or weird. I can do that. There is some strangeness where the frame of these pieces stick through. Not much you can do about that. So right now, this piece is stuck where I don't want it to be. Simply destroying it won't be enough. It will still interfere. The roof above it is also in the way for placing roof under it. So I need to destroy the top roof using the flamethrower trap. And I need to remove... Sorry, I'm a smoker. I apologize. So there's a bunch of different ways of doing this. I don't want to do it there because it'll end up being connected to this roof, and then I need to stick something under it for it to actually not screw up. So I'm moving it over so it connects to this one instead. I can just go to my stored items, but I like having the selection at my fingertips. So that should allow me to take that out of there. I gotta go back up there and destroy that roof, and then I should be able to snap this one in place. It might let me, occasionally it will. Oh, it will. Oh, it did, briefly. Sometimes stuff will snap when it shouldn't. Not very often, gotta be honest. So, essentially I'm going to destroy this arch piece and the roof at the same time, so they're both out of my way. Same trick, put down your floor, put your flamethrower on top of it. But before you trigger it, make sure that it's high enough and pointing at what you want to destroy. So I want to take out this angle piece and the roof. It will go through the angle piece first. And if I'm lucky, it'll take the roof out at the same time. If I'm not, I'll just have to do it again. No. I missed. That happens. Not a big deal. It's just a matter of changing the angle and doing it again. Alright. So normally the roof would want to snap to this piece that's destroyed, but it also wants to snap to the end of that roof, so either way is good. This top angled arch is still there. You can see the end of it destroyed, which leaves just this one piece that's not where I want it to be. But like I said earlier, this edge of that bottom angle will snap to this one. There's nothing currently blocking it, so it let me place it. So if I just run over here, get into build mode, I can repair everything, and you'll see what I've been doing. And that's essentially how I build the engines for my ships. Because I destroyed that piece, the wallpaper is gone, so I just put it back. And there you have it. Rinse and repeat for the backside. This piece, because it still has this floating angle, will just pop right out of there. Bob's your uncle. Same situation on this side. That angled roof will prevent another angled roof from snapping in that hole. Torch it, snap your piece in. I wouldn't recommend that until you finish the backside. Or if, say, you were going to use let's see. Say I wanted to use a floor here, which is running down the center beam of the ship. I can literally start creating the other side because the snap point angles are already there. Oops. And that's really the basic concepts of how you get one of these builds to A, float in the air without the use of floors or stairs, and how you get through snapping pieces through each other. That's the basic concepts of how I actually do this. Also, I don't need any of these foundations. They're just a guide. Once I have the rough frame going, I can literally take all of the foundations out. There's a catch. Normally, once you've removed all the foundations, you can't continue construction. I just bugged the game, and I can continue construction with no foundations at all. Normally that doesn't happen. You'll get a white outline on everything, so you can't keep building. The solution: drop a single foundation anywhere you want, and it'll let you keep building. It doesn't have to be part of the build at all, just within the circle. So now that I've shown the world how to do this, I'm expecting to see a whole bunch of builds based on this concept. Hint, hint, everybody. So I am not the only one doing them. I've seen other spaceship builds that use the floating stair trick. They're cool and all, but they're very boxy. The creativity that's gone into them is amazing. I've seen some really cool ones. I'm going, if they only knew my tricks, they could do so much more. Well, now I'm sharing my tricks. So I'd like to see what they do with them too. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful and informative. And now the tricks are going to be out there for everybody to use. Drop a like on the video if you liked it. Feel free to comment. Thanks everyone for watching.